What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 18 of Some Kind of Podcast. This is a podcast where we entertain you by discussing what entertains us. I am your host today, Christian, and joined by Cody.
Hey.
Tim is unfortunately on vacation this week. Well, I guess good for him. So you're all stuck with just the two of us this week. Last week was an interesting episode for sure. I kind of tuned in like you all did and realized that Cody and Tim, in my absence, decided to host Final Fantasy 14 from our last episode from Final Fantasy 14 in game. They talked at length about one of their most beloved beloved games, early impressions of the new game Returnal, out now for the PlayStation 5. That episode is now live on your favorite podcast services, and if that sounds entertaining to you, make sure you go back and give it a watch. So this week we're gonna kind of continue that mentality. We're going to be coming to you, if you're watching this on YouTube, live from in our studios in Animal Crossing. This is a fun little idea Cody had. If you're not watching on YouTube, then you're missing out. But we will have this uploaded to podcast services for wherever you watch for your convenience. This week, we'll be talking about a few hot topics in the entertainment industry, including the release of new Pokémon Snap, Resident Evil Village First Impressions, and this new partnership the PlayStation has with Discord services, but more on that later. Cody, I want to start out with the rebranding of this segment called EXP Grind. So what you been up to this past week?
Work. Real life EXP grind. I think I mentioned it in a previous podcast, but literally like the week before lockdown, I was laid off for restructuring and budgeting reasons. And then lockdown happened, and I have had zero luck finding work in my field for the last year. But I recently started a contract position with my old company temporarily, just for help get some stuff done over there. So this is the first time I've been back to work in a year, and I'm just mentally drained.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not fun because you're waking up. You're starting your day pretty early now.
Yeah, so because I have cats, they need to eat at a certain time, and so I generally wake up around like 8:39 anyway, like on a normal day. But now I'm getting up at 6 or 6:30, because if I don't, I'll be late for work.
Yeah.
So it's, fun Charlotte traffic in the morning.
Somehow, in addition to all that new fun stuff you got going on, you have found a way to play a little bit of Returnal and the new Resident Evil game, though, correct?
Yeah, well, yesterday and today, oh, hang on. Yeah, screen went to sleep, even though I told it not to. That's fine. Yeah, I played Returnal last night and today, and then me and you briefly started Resident Evil yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, did you play any more beyond that?
I played for like 5 minutes. I found the save point and was like, that's cool. That's enough for today.
Okay, yeah, we can dive more into that in a bit when we talk about Resident Evil.
Yeah. But,
any new thoughts on Returnal at all from playing any more with that?
I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I hit the third boss this morning and died, so that was fun.
Okay. There's not a ton of bosses in that game, though, right?
I think there's like 5.
Okay.
5 or 6, maybe. I'm not sure. I've only seen 3.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm liking it more and more as I play it, even though it is increasingly aggravating to die and then start over. I find that like it takes me less and less time to make it through each biome, to collect everything, than it did the previous time.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's good. It's always been, it wasn't like on my priority list of games that I had to buy at launch, but like the more I hear you talk about it and the more I hear about it online, the more I really want to get it. I might wait for a price drop, but I think it sounds like it's totally worth even the full MSRP value.
Oh no, I think it is. It's it's definitely, I kind of want to just call it a one of a kind. I mean, it is a roguelite, but like it's not like any roguelite I've ever seen because I don't generally play roguelite games, but yeah, I highly recommend it.
Yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I'm sure as you and Tim talked about last week, I haven't been up to a lot other than trying to get done with school. My finals week has been kind of drawn out into 2 weeks, which I thought would be better, but it's actually worse. So I really haven't played or watched much of anything up until this weekend to kind of give myself a break from it all. I dove back into the Batman Telltale games. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a huge fan of Telltale series. I was really bummed when they kind of went under. That was a while ago, wasn't it? Wasn't that a couple years ago?
There was at least two,
Yeah. And then I think another company came in and bought out the company and are like bringing sequels to their old franchises, I think.
something like that. Yeah, I don't. I know that they got bought out or like the IPs got bought. I'm not really sure.
Hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, like, I definitely, whatever they do, I hope that they keep like the basic Telltale formula that they had going because I really like the comic book style, kind of like a combination of like a cool, like, narrative movie almost with a choice based game.
Yeah.
So, been a long time fan of the series. Batman was always just kind of the one in their list of franchises that I just never really kind of got around to playing. So I'm going back and playing that now, just for a little bit of kind of relaxing downtime, playing a game, as well as an easy platinum. So,
Yeah.
and then on top of that, of course, I've been playing a little bit of new Pokemon Snap here and there. Been rewatching a bit of Community, and then Ashley and I watched this crazy anime, like slice of life anime on Netflix called The Way of the House Husband.
Okay.
It's interesting. Like I didn't think I was gonna get into it at first, but it's like this guy that used to be like this famous killer for the Yakuza in Japan, like decided to retire and become a house husband. It's only like 6 episodes, and each episode's like 12 minutes long. So I was just like, whatever. Ashley wanted to watch it, and I was like, fine. I got way too much entertainment out of it than I should have personally. But yeah, it's definitely worth at least watching the first episode. My biggest critique of it was that like they didn't actually like animate it. Essentially, what they did is they took like panels from the manga and then just kind of like it would show a panel and then it would just show another panel and then like their lips would kind of be animated to move, but like the
Okay.
whole bodies wouldn't move in general.
I got
I
you.
hadn't really ever seen another like quote unquote anime that took that lazy of a route.
That's like League of Legends style, or it's like artwork that somebody's like manipulated to like certain parts move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, so it's it was interesting. We watched it. I think that was actually last weekend, just a little bit. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of it for me. Hopefully, in another week or so, once I'm done with school, I'll have a little bit more to talk about. Well, we all will. This month, these coming months, the summer, we'll have a lot of cool stuff coming out
Oh
that we can
yeah.
all talk about for sure. Moving on to the next part of the show, though, I want to touch back in with Metacritic predictions, an update for this. So, as you all may recall, in episode 3, we gave our predictions for what Metacritic scores the movies and video games releasing in 2021 would get. With a few of those titles having been released and more on the horizon, it's time for an update. So, the way this score system again broke down was if you were within 10 of the accredited Metascore, you got 1 point. If you were within 5 of the score, you got 2 points. Within 3 score, you got 3 points. And if you were right on the nose, got it exactly right, you were awarded 4 points. So, in a reminder of the current point standing, Tim had a total of 8 points. Cody, you were at 8 as well, and I was at 12.
Mm-hmm.
So, the only thing currently to actually give like the official calling for on the score is new Pokemon Snap. So, new Pokemon Snap was released back on April 30th. So, it is well over a week now, and it's safe to go and call that its a score is an 80. And so, Tim, his official guess was at 85. Cody, yours was at 83, and I was at 82. So, we were all within, like, almost spot on the nose. What?
Somebody got some more points again.
Hey, to be fair, I didn't, since it's within, wait, let me go back and double check this. Yeah. So it's if I in order to get any more points, I'd have to be right on the nose. So we were both
Okay.
you and I were both within 3 score. So we both get the same amount this week. So I get 3 added on to my score. Cody, you get 3, and Tim got 2. So that brings our totals to Tim at total of 10 points. Cody, you're at 11, and I'm at 15. So it's not that far off. Just saying, like, you guys are
Yeah.
still in the
You
game.
have to like completely bomb one.
I mean, yeah. And I might, because I mean, like, you guys pressured me into like giving Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, a
I didn't
95.
pressure you into anything.
Well, I felt bad because I was like, well, this is like, one of my favorite beloved series of all time. If I like, if I doubt it for a second, then like, who's that? What's that telling about me as a fan? So anyway, I gave it like a 95, and I'm pretty sure the way our system works is if I go over the amount.
No, it's still within. It's
Okay, yeah,
within
okay,
either direction.
okay,
So
never mind. Anyway, it'll probably get somewhere probably in the 80s. I guess like a 95. So that might be the one where you guys can catch up on.
maybe.
Um, so yeah, and then the next one that we'll actually be able to give the calling on is Resident Evil Village. It's currently an 84 on Metacritic, but I mean it just came out like 2 days ago. So we will make the call on that one on next episode. The upcoming games outside of Resident Evil Village is probably going to be Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart coming out on June 11th for our Metacritic movies and games. So that'll be the next thing to look forward to. But as we were talking about before, there's a lot of movies and games coming out through the months of June and July. So we'll have plenty of talk about over these coming months.
Mm-hmm.
So Cody, the next part of the show that I really wanted to dive into is, I know you haven't played a lot, but you are at least out of our group, probably, well, definitely the expert on all things Resident Evil. So I wanted to do a Resident Evil Village in review, but since you haven't really played that in depth into the game, I just kind of wanted to get your overall first impressions on it. So, like, for me personally, I have a hard time keeping up with like where all the games take place because I haven't really played many of them.
Yeah.
So where does this take place in the timeline?
Oh, timeline. I'm assuming it's like the latest. Like
Okay, so they're all like chronological. Like, do they all go in order?
I'm pretty sure they do. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they did that like typical game franchise where it's like 3 and 4 are actually a prequel and then it goes back to being a sequel. And...
No, I'm pretty sure they're all like sequential. Pretty sure.
Oh, okay. And who are the main characters of this game?
Ethan Winters is your main character. That's who you play as.
Okay.
Chris Redfield is in the game. You play as him, and I think like.
Oh, you do play as him at some point?
No. In the games in the series you do.
Oh. Okay.
Like in Resident Evil 5, 6, and maybe 1. I can't remember. But yeah, he's a longtime protagonist of the series. So I don't like scary stuff.
Yeah.
It's very obvious having seen me play anything scary. I hate it. But I love the series. I don't know why.
To be fair, I don't think most games in the franchise are what you would call horror, right? I mean, like they've got horror elements
They're
to them,
horror
but they're not
survival.
Yeah.
Like it's classified as a horror survival. And I think, had I played them when they came out, they probably would have been. Resident Evil 4 definitely had some moments that had me jumping when it came out because I played that on the GameCube.
Mm-hmm.
5 wasn't scary. 5 was more of a action game. 6 had some moments here and there, just really jump scares. Which, I mean, you experienced that first campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I never played 7. The first person thing really threw me off, and like I couldn't tell if it was even like a first person shooter or if it was just like you have to hide from the monsters in the house and it's just scary for the sake of scary, and I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, and so I already forgot, even from watching you play yesterday, is 8 first person?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so is that going to be what you think they'll go with from now on instead of third person over the shoulder?
I don't know. I hope not. I hope that it's just these cut, the two in this like arc or whatever,
Hmm.
7 and 8, since it's the same character. Um, and I hope they go back to the third person, or if like, maybe they'll do first person for new characters like Ethan or whoever, but then like if they go back to Leon, it'll be third person. That's what I'm hoping, but I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, I'm curious. I think definitely as over the years, from what I recall from working in and out of like gaming retail and everything, I think eight's probably like the most like speed that a Resident Evil game's picked up as far as people being like really excited for it, with everyone really wanting to see the giant vampire lady.
Well, I was gonna say
And
there's a difference between a bunch of thirsty nerds and hype for a good game. So I don't know where this falls into.
hey, I mean, like as far as Capcom's concerned, as long as they sell the games, like I guess they don't care.
Oh yeah, no, why would they?
Um,
Capcom's always been about like throwing overtly sexual characters into their games. So like it's nothing new, but this is like
what I'll be curious to know though is like, is the character even sexual, or did like the world just make it sexual?
the world made it sexual.
Yeah, because she's just one of the. Is she the main bad guy inside the castle area?
I honestly don't know.
Okay.
They make her out to be like at least a main baddie, if not the main baddie.
Hmm.
And then she has her like three vampire bug daughters, whatever they are. Um, that I'm sure we'll have to kill each one throughout the game.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see kind of where the plot line goes. Like I said, I've never been enthralled enough and interested enough in this in the franchise to like actually go out of my way to pick one up, or like and carry along. And part of the reason is like same thing with Monster Hunter. Like I missed out on the initial craze of like four. I think four would you call like the biggest like success of the franchise?
Uh, yes, only because it's been out on like 4 or 5 systems now. It's
Yeah.
essentially their Skyrim, and they're re-releasing it in VR.
Hmm.
And apparently they're remaking it like like they did 2 and 3. Like they're making Resident 4 remake.
So yeah, so what are your overall thoughts of this game in comparison to last? Like I know you haven't played a ton yet, but of what you played and what you've experienced through the demos and the trailers and everything, like what do you think?
I think it's gonna be really good. It definitely feels like a first-person Resident Evil 4, um, or mainline Resident Evil game. Like I don't feel like it's gonna be like run and hide kind of game. Like I feel like there's gonna be that aspect, but that's in every Resident Evil game.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it's definitely aimed to be more of a bridge between the old games and potentially what they're doing new. Um, so I'm really enjoying it. I do think I'm playing on normal, and I feel like some of the enemies, the difficulty, like cap on them is kind of high for a normal setting.
Mhm.
Like it's not ridiculous. I haven't died yet, but I feel like it takes way too many bullets to kill the enemies so far.
So you're saying that like as compared to what the usual like casual whatever difficulty is for the game, that like it's the bar is kind of raised even for the easy settings?
It's what it. Well, again, I don't know what the easy's like, but normal, like as far as I know, it's like easy, normal, hard, and then there might be a like good lord difficulty. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like with most of them, like sure, it takes what feels like too many shots to kill a zombie in the old games, but like I feel like it takes twice that to kill the enemies so far in
Hmm.
this game. Like in Resident Evil 4, for instance, you could kill something typically with like a shotgun shot. Like if you hit it in the head, it would explode the head. and then if it had like a parasite in it or something, it took another shot, maybe two, to kill it. But like so far with these like werewolf things, it's been like three shotgun blasts and a bunch of pistol ammo to take out one. Like it's I don't know, it's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if
So would
that's
you
just
say,
because they're werewolves and they're just
yeah?
trying to be like, yeah, they're not zombies, they're werewolves, or if it's I don't know, you know.
So would you say the challenge in like the original setup was just finding ammunition, whereas comparatively like this one, there's more ammunition and it just takes more to kill them?
Yeah. So in all the Resident Evil games, for the most part, ammo has been like you know scarce. Like it's a survival game,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel like in this one, ammo is more readily available, or like the components to craft it. At least so far. Again, I'm only like an hour into it, but I found far fewer healing components so far than I have in other games.
Okay, cool. Well, we will, I'm sure, touch base on this again next week, even if it's just kind of in line with touching base with the official Metacritic score unveiling as you play more.
Yeah.
So we'll be on the lookout for that in the future. Briefly brought it up before with, me playing new Pokemon Snap, unveiling the official scoring that it got on Metascore. And like, I think it's done pretty well. I think I'm the only one out of our little grouping that actually got it, right? Like, Tim didn't get it, you didn't get it.
Yeah, no, Steven didn't get it. I didn't get it. Tim didn't get it.
Um, we joke about all the time, but it very much is a game where um, by looking at the front cover, you know what the game is.
Yeah.
Like I don't like you can give an accurate review for that game just by looking at the cover because that like literally is it's all about going on a little almost Disney World-esque ride along through a biome and then taking pictures of Pokemon.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know or aren't familiar with it, back in I think it was 1999, the Pokemon Company came out with the original Pokemon Snap on the Nintendo 64. And so I guess the Pokemon Company definitely wanted to revamp that success from back then and kind of bring something new to the Switch, hence the new Pokemon Snap. So this game is not necessarily a sequel. I mean, it definitely takes place after the first one just because there's more Pokemon. And then you explore these different biomes just like you did in the first one. You take all the pictures and then you report them, and the professor's like, hey, I'm going to give you an A. I'm going to give you X amount of points. But yeah, I mean, it's fun. Like I knew that going into it. So like, I never imagined that I was going to sit around for 5 hours at a time playing this game. It's definitely more so of like, hey, you know what? I'm kind of stressed. Let's just take pictures of Pokemon. So it's kind of fun to play in passing. And I don't think that my total in-game hours are going to surpass anything crazy.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed, so like when I played the original Pokemon Snap back on Nintendo 64, I didn't get it at launch. I got it like years later, and I discovered it at like a used game store, and I was like, what is this? Like I don't even remember the game coming out. I just remember finding it and being like, this is a game. Did you ever play the original? You did, right?
Yeah. I never owned it. I never owned a 64 until I was an adult. But my best friend at the time lived down the street, and he had it, a 64. So that's how I played, like Ocarina of Time, and like the first, some of the first Final Fantasy games I ever played, and Pokemon Snap.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it was fun, but we were 12. You know what I mean? Like I had a blast playing it, but we were 12. Like it was just like, I got to get the best score. You can be so cool. And then yeah, that's exact. But the game is literally just let's take screenshots.
Yeah. I will say though that I mean, like even with that, like, because I mean there are apps and everything out there of just on your phone, like free apps where you can take screenshots and add filters. Like it does come with like the first party Nintendo game polish that all games receive by them.
Sure.
Like it is a great game. I don't believe that it is a $60 value that they priced it at. I think it should have been like 30 or 40.
Oh yeah,
So
max.
I do think Yeah, I do think they kind of overshot it there. Like they definitely had a right to charge for it. It shouldn't have been free.
No.
But 60 was kind of like, what are you doing? But I mean, like, hey, if that sounds interesting, or if you've got kids, like Cody was just saying, like if you've got a little 12-year-old at home, like this is totally a game you should pick up for them because they'll lose countless hours just trying to get the best scores, catching all these, or not catching, taking pictures of all these Pokemon.
Yeah. No, I think it was definitely like a hey, we should get like another batch of young audience into Nintendo, so let's put Pokemon Snap again out.
Yeah, like I feel like this is kind of the same thing they were trying to accomplish when they released Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu.
Yeah.
Similarly, anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, like I like again, I would recommend it if you know you're 20 something to an up year old, then maybe second guess yourself for a second before you spend $60 on it. If it's for a kid at all, I think it's totally worth it. But yeah, no, it's great. I think it definitely deserves the 80 some score that it got. It's great. It's got a great polish on it. It's got I think 5 or more biomes that you can explore, which is more than the first. I think the first only had like, or the original back in 1999 only had like 2 or 3.
Yeah. It wasn't a lot. No, I mean I knew it was gonna get that score, but I feel like it got that score because of nostalgia. Like I know people that bought that game just to buy the game. You know what I mean? Like not even like to not even play like you like fully knowing that like I'm gonna play this once, and then it's gonna be a part of my like quote unquote collection. Like it's gonna sit on my shelf and be there, and it's gonna be like, yeah, I got that.
Yeah. I hate to admit that that's me, but that's me. Similarly to buying Pokken back in the day. Like
Oh
I thought
yeah,
the
same.
premise of it was really cool, and I'm glad it's in my collection. Will I ever play that game? Probably not.
No, no.
But yeah. So I mean, again, like if you want to really hear us talk about all things Pokemon, go back and watch that episode or that episode of our series. But yeah, no. At the end of the day, I think that it's either going to be for younger kids or for collectors. There's not really going to be any other market that's going to pick up this game at full price.
And if it sounds like I'm hating on any of it, I'm not. If you're watching on YouTube, I'm literally dressed as older Ash Ketchum. So, like I'm Ash with a beard. So like, I'm not hating. I love Pokemon, but it's for this game in particular is for the younger crowd.
Yeah. No, and I think we're all kind of in agreement here. We can't wait for the next, installment to come out next year where we actually get the open world
Yeah.
RPG feeling in the Pokemon universe.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
So one last little thing before we close out that I thought was a pretty newsworthy thing that happened this week. So I think it was like May 3rd or 4th. There was an announcement in the gaming industry that Sony invested in Discord to integrate it with PlayStation in 2022. So I have an article pulled up. It's by Owen Good over at Polygon. So here it writes, Sony Interactive Entertainment and Discord will connect the communication service to PlayStation Network early next year. Now that Sony has taken an ownership stake in Discord's latest round of capital raising. SIE President and CEO Jim Ryan didn't list specifics for how PlayStation and Discord will work together. He said, in quote, "Our goal is to bring the Discord and PlayStation experiences closer together on console and mobile starting early next year," Ryan said, "allowing friends, groups, and communities to hang out, have fun, communicate more easily while playing games together. Sony's investment in Discord is made to bring these experiences to life for our players," he said. Ryan said both companies are already at work on Discord and PSN integration, empowering players to create communities, enjoy sharing gaming experiences is at the heart of what we do. Discord, a voice over internet protocol communication service launched in 2015, as of December, claimed more than 140 million monthly active users. Much of its growth comes from the app's popularity among the video game communities, especially on PC, where Discord functionalizes as both a permanent group chat and party voice chat. So, Cody, what do you think this exactly means?
I think it means that we're going to get a background app to run Discord on are PS5. Like, there are games that are cross-platform, like Call of Duty, um, and I'm sure more to come. I
But
think
like
Fortnite.
since yeah,
Um,
but since it's only coming to PlayStation and not Xbox, at least for the time being,
yeah.
the are they do you think PlayStation's gonna replace the chat functionality that's on PlayStation with Discord, or do you think it's just
No,
gonna be its own app that's like a side thing?
it's its own app. I guarantee it'll be its own app. Sort of like Spotify works in the background. Um, you'll be able to open Discord and access, whatever server and join a voice chat and be able to talk to your friends that are on PC, whether you're playing a game or not.
And that's cool. And like I definitely think I don't really know exactly what happens. I think the funniest thing out of all this is that, so Discord CEOs or whatever were in talks with Microsoft.
Yeah.
And it sounded like Microsoft essentially wanted to buy the company from them. And they were like, no, we're not looking for you to buy us. We want a partnership.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, that's not what we want to do.
Yeah.
And so they left. And I feel like as soon as they walked out the door of Microsoft HQ, Sony called them up and was like, hey, I heard you wanted a partner.
Yeah. Nope,
And
that's
so they
pretty
signed
much
up
what
with
happened.
Sony. I feel like whether it's 6 months from now or 3 years from now, I feel like Microsoft is eventually going to jump on board and be like, hey, this is a cool idea. We need to jump in. Because if it is what you say or what you think it's going to be, and it's just going to be, a third party app just on the console where like, hey, if you're playing a cross-platform game, you've got a buddy on PC, you've got a buddy on Xbox, and you can all load up that app simultaneously, play on 3 different platforms, and all talk together. That's like amazing.
Yeah, I think that's
What I
what's
really
happening.
want to see happen is see this thing come to Switch, because Switch chat functionality sucks.
Oh, it's awful. But it won't come to the current Switch. It'll be if it happens, it'll be on the Switch Pro. I don't.
You don't think it? So you would think they would release it on the Switch Pro and not the regular Switch?
Yep,
Really?
I do because I mean the Switch is it's a powerful system in its own right, but I don't think you can run more than one thing at a time on the Switch the way it's currently built. Like, I don't even know that a software update would it like allow you to run a third party app while you're playing a game. But with the Switch Pro, they can build that in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like
Yeah,
I
and I
don't
mean,
know. I don't know if there's any truth to it. Have you heard the rumors that Sony's gonna redesign the PS5?
no, I didn't hear anything about
So
that.
I saw that this morning. Apparently, it was a couple days old. Not to change the subject because it all kind of ties in.
No, you're good. Are you talking about like the UI or like the way the
No.
console
The way
looks,
the
like the
console
physical
looks,
form, or?
because I guess the way they built it, like they're running into manufacturing problems. Like they can't make enough. So they're talking
Yeah.
about redesigning it, and potentially making or using new components that would make it a little more powerful or whatever. But it would still just be the PS5. It wouldn't be a PS5 Pro or anything. But like, I don't know. It's sort of the Switch Pro. I don't think you should look at like an upgraded Switch. I really feel like, while it is, I mean, it's essentially the PS4 to the PS4 Pro. A PS4 Pro could play Cyberpunk, and a PS4 couldn't.
Yeah, I mean, like I definitely don't think it's like instead of going from Switch to whatever comes next after the Switch. Like, I mean, it definitely is a step up. I do feel like whatever the Switch Pro is going to be more of a step up than just from like a PlayStation 4 to PlayStation 4 Pro.
Yeah, well,
Like, I think it's going to be more
it's supposed to go
good.
to 4K on the TV.
And then 1080 in handheld, right?
I think.
I think it's at 720p right now in handheld mode.
Yeah. I don't know if it's supposed to stay in 720 or what, but I know the screen's only going to be a little bit bigger, and the hardware is supposed to be a little more beefy. So
Yeah.
and it's going to be a bigger
So
system.
yeah, what's crazy though is I mean like I definitely will get a Switch Pro
Oh
when it
yeah,
comes out.
100%.
Why? I have no legitimate reason to get it
Nope.
because every single time I'm like, hey, I want to play a video game.
Yeah.
I pick up my PlayStation 5 controller and I
Yep.
play PlayStation 5. So I have no reason to actually invest more money into a Nintendo hardware other than it's the newest thing and I want it.
Yeah. I mean, no, 100%. I feel you.
Same sort of logic because now that you've told me that there is a new PlayStation 5 coming out that looks a little bit different, but has like just like one or two newer parts that might make it like a millisecond faster. Like I'm like, oh man, I kind of want it.
Look, I'll be real honest. Depending on how it looks, will determine on whether or not I get it. And if I get it, so like a couple things need to happen. One, the design has to be like nice, but two, it would have to be like they'd have to release it with a game and make it a special edition console. Like I don't want just a plain Jane PS5. Like if I'm gonna get another one, they got to make it worth it.
Well, yeah, and so like, and I feel like, I mean, granted, this might not even be true, but like, if say it is, let's say they release a, newer version of the essentially 1.0 PlayStation 5 hardware that does run a bit faster and a bit better, a bit smoother, whatever, and it's at the same price point as the launch PlayStation 5. I feel like they're kind of screwing over everyone who already has a PlayStation 5
Well, so
because
I
these people that are
think
now going to buy them are going to pay the same price and get a better console.
well, so I feel like when they said it was going to be more powerful, I don't even know that it necessarily anyone would actually notice the difference. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like it's not going to be like, oh, I can play 8K now natively or something like that. Like it's not going to be a pro version of the console. It's just going to be like instead of using whatever AMD chip they're currently using, they're going to use like the next model because it costs the same as it did when they made it originally with the
mm.
older chip. You know what I mean? Like it's not.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, I think if that is the case, then and it's not a noticeable difference, and it's not a like limited edition console, I think I'll be able to convince myself to wait until there is the limited edition console,
Yeah.
and then just getting like whatever the Pro is or whatever down the line.
Right. Yeah. I don't think it's gonna be like they. It would be like you said. It would be really dumb for a company to do that. Like, hey, I know you all just bought the PS5, but here's the PS5 for the same price, and it's better. Like, I
Yeah.
doubt that highly. And nothing's been confirmed either. Right now, it's just a rumor out of Sony. Like they confirmed like that it has been difficult for them to mass produce the PS5 lately.
Yeah, and I mean, in their defense, I think it's hard to manufacture anything right now.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I think even Microsoft, despite having a very like simplistic design for the Series X, I mean, even outside of technology, like I know, like I was talking to my sister the other day, and they're trying to install like a fence, and like there's a shortage of wood. Like I
Yeah.
think there's just so much shortages of just everything across the board that it's hard for anyone to actually create anything at the moment.
There's a chicken shortage. So, like, it all just kind of sucks right now, and I feel for all of them.
Yeah.
But anyway, not to pull us back onto what we were talking about. Um, the Discord app. I would love for it to come to the Switch, but I just truly don't see it happening on the current Switch.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's. I don't think it can handle it.
Yeah, and I mean, like I could even seeing it being a thing because, like, right now the dock for the Switch is essentially, I mean, that's all it is just a dock. All it
Yeah.
is just a port that then plugs into your TV that routes it and semi boosts the graphic capabilities. But I think that might also just be the TV
That's
doing that.
so it's the console doing it. The console has the ability to output 1080. The screen on the console can't.
Yeah.
So it's like it's a 720 screen that's getting a 1080p signal, but it can't put out 1080p. But if you plug it
Mm.
into a proper HDMI cord, which is all the dock is, it can output that 1080p.
But I wonder, since like you're already having to dock your Switch onto, a dock to get it to play on your TV, like if they could do something of like a, hey, here's this updated dock. If you put your Switch in here, this like enhances its capabilities to where like it can do more things on the TV version.
It would be a $400 system.
You think, even if they just sold like the dock like by itself?
Uh, Knowing Nintendo, I could see them doing that because I mean they sold the charger for the 3DS separate from the console.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it would happen until the Switch Pro. Like they would
Yeah.
they would have to consciously build it into the Pro to be like, you know, like it works just fine. But if you plug it into this special dock that we just made, then it can run at 120 frames a second and 4K native with ray tracing or some nonsense. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, and I guess the my big perspective on it is that like if they do come out with a, or not if, when they come out with a Switch Pro, and if it does have these extra capabilities that like, anybody above the age of 14 is going to be interested in, and a majority of the world already has a Switch, I can't imagine them being like, hey, we're going to miss out on a huge market if we don't put something out there that even if it is overpriced, that boosts the current tech to somewhat be on par with the new tech.
yeah, I just feel like that's not Nintendo's thing. Like they're just gonna put it in the console. Like if it's not in the console, then they're not gonna do it.
Yeah.
Like Nintendo's never been. I feel like in Nintendo's eyes, they've never been a competitor to PC, Sony, or Xbox.
Yeah.
They've never tried to compete. And when they released the Switch, even though they weren't trying, they still won.
Yeah, and I recall, now that you said that, like when I mean, like, of course the DS's life cycle was never ending, but when they came out with the new 3DS, there were certain titles that could only run on the new 3DS, and even if you had a 3DS, and if it wasn't the newest
Yeah.
model, you couldn't play the game.
Yeah. So, I think part of that was the 3D technology and it being more complicated than a software update.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really feel like that's what it came down to. But I wouldn't put it past them for a Switch Pro and be like, yeah, this game only works for the Switch Pro.
I mean, it's a way to sell new hardware. I mean, like if you've already made
Yeah.
all the money you're going to make off of the Switch, which I'm sure at this point they pretty much have. Like anyone who wants a Switch probably has a Switch.
Yeah.
It's a way to drive in new consumers, or recycle old consumers that already have a Switch, and like us, will totally buy the next model.
For no reason.
Yep. Yep. So, any final thoughts, man?
I mean, to the Discord thing, I think it would be amazing, especially considering me and Tim are back into Final Fantasy 14 and would love for you to join us again. But
Hey, to be fair, I did download it, and you
you
outfitted me with
downloaded
new
it.
gear.
And I outfitted you with new gear, and then you didn't turn it back on.
Still installed. I haven't deleted it yet.
You're not subbed. Your trials probably run out.
You think? I thought it was like 30. Was it 30 days? Maybe it was a
I
week.
thought it was like a
Anyway,
week.
continue on with what you were
But
talking
anyway, for people that are playing that game, a lot of people are split between the PS4, PS5, and PC in that game. So like the free company I'm in, they use Discord a lot, and to be able to just hop into the Discord from my PS5 if we're trying to do something or whatever, that would be super convenient, as opposed to like, hang on, let me turn my computer on, or let me grab my laptop or my phone and figure out which headphones work. Like,
I mean, that would be amazing, just because playing, I mean, back from, of course, when I was playing it full time with you guys, the having to pull out the keyboard on the PlayStation and trying to type at the speed of a PC player also playing the same dungeon as you it just never worked because like you'd have to grab the keyboard, and by the time you grabbed the keyboard, got it in front of you, made sure it was connected, and like typed out a sentence, they had already typed like an essay in the chat box.
Yeah.
So having Discord in there would, I agree with you. That'd be amazing for situations just like that.
I think it'd be pretty cool. Other than that, I got nothing. Oh wait, no, yeah, I do. So because I'm working again, for anyone that cares that's watching or listening, I know we said we were gonna do a lot of Resident Evil content.
Yeah.
Life happened, so that's probably not. This podcast is probably going to be the only thing that happens, like, realistically for a while. I might throw some gameplay up here and there, and I'm sure when Ratchet and Clank comes out, I'll help Christian with some editing and stuff, and I'm sure you'll want to put some Ratchet and Clank content up.
Yeah, for sure. But no, I'm with you. I think for the time being, I think instead of being some kind of entertainment, it's going to be strictly some kind of podcast.
Yeah, some kind of entertainment will be there. Like I still have some Returnal videos that I'm going to put up. I mean, there's no commentary. It's just gameplay. I'll put those up here and there, and we might do something fun like this, or we might stream something and that'll pop up. But like, it's not going to be a regularly scheduled gaming content like we did starting out.
All right. But it is what it is, and as everyone's experienced with this past year, even if you think you know what's going to happen, you don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But we will we promise to upload content as we can, as life allows us to.
Yeah.
And keep you guys up with as much information that we can provide you with about the entertainment industry. So, Cody, I actually think that you're up again next week to be host. Do you know what you're going to chat about?
Stuff. I don't know. Dude,
okay. TBD.
TBD, because, these are so well thought out and planned, and I definitely haven't pulled episodes out of my butt.
Oh, yeah. Totally not. I totally didn't piece this together minutes before we started.
What is anything coming out this week? No,
but I mean, like, since you haven't played much of Resident Evil yet, I mean, like, by that point you'll play a bit more, so we can talk more about that.
Yeah, a whole hour more. Yeah. Also, I think it's this next episode. Tim will be here in person with me.
Oh, cool.
I think that's how we're doing that.
Okay.
Because I know he'll be in Charlotte at some point soon.
Okay, yeah. So like this next Friday is the 21st, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's either going to be this weekend, or no, this weekend is not the 21st. Holy
next weekend.
God, yeah, next weekend's the 21st. This weekend's the 14th.
Anyway, we can talk about this off air. We can.
No. I'm sure people are so curious.
Anyway, we're both tired and we're kind of out of it, so excuse us, guys. Anywho, so yeah, next week's episode is TBD. We will let you all know. That's going to wrap up this week's episode of Some Kind of Podcast. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment below. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on Facebook and Twitter at SKO Entertainers, or visit our website, www.skoentertainment.net, for more information. I would say check out our Twitch channel, but probably don't, because there's not much on it right now. Again, like we said before, we'll get back to it, we promise. But finally, don't forget to join us next week, because even on the best of days, we all need some kind of entertainment. Thanks,
guys.